Hi, welcome to the Dartarian Show. I'm Alexander Dartarian.
And I'm Dominic Sykes.
And today we're doing another serial killer for this season. One that's been caught recently.
Yeah.
As of 2020, the Golden State Killer was caught. He has multiple names. He has a lot of nicknames. Most serial killers have the one name.
Yeah, it's
he
like
has multiple.
Yeah, I did notice that they do tend to throw a lot of names around. Like they did that with Richard Ramirez. They had a bunch of different names before they settled on Night Stalker. For him as the most popular.
Yeah, like the Screen Door Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
They have a lot of names before they stick.
But we're gonna either call him Golden State Killer or Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. or Joe Jr.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you some of his names. He's known as the East Area Rapist, the Visalia Ransacker, the Night Stalker, the original Night Stalker, and the Golden State Killer is the most famous one. It's one that's stuck to him the most.
Yeah.
Especially after Richard Ramirez came out as the Night Stalker. So he was born November 8th, 1945. He's murdered 13 people, raped 51, and burglarized 120.
Wow.
So a very, very long rap sheet.
Yeah. So that means there's some cases where he would just burglarize the house and not kill or rape anybody.
Yeah, like I think that's probably how he started out.
He started out with burglars probably, and then kind of progressed up from there. Yeah, I guess that's how they work, huh?
So when Joseph Jr. was born in Bath, New York, his father, Joseph James D'Angelo, was a sergeant in the U.S. Army. Joe Jr. had two sisters and a younger brother. When the D'Angelo family was stationed in West Germany, a relative reported that Joe Jr. witnessed the rape of his 7-year-old sister by two airmen in a warehouse.
God damn.
Joe Jr. was a young child at the time, so that's some
kind of traumatizing
Dexter level crap right there. If you guys are familiar with the show Dexter, and
that's another thing though that goes with that.
Well,
I don't know.
Dexter was like a baby.
Yeah. Well, I don't know because I'm not an expert when it comes to serial killers or anything like that or any kind of psychology, but when you're dealing with serial killers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that they're born that way, or that an event in their past makes them that way, or is it both?
That's the $1 million question.
Okay, so they still don't 100% know yet whether or not it's trauma or past events.
Yes, because there's some serial killers that have a completely normal childhood.
Know of though.
No, it's 100% normal. They go back and interview and all that stuff.
Okay.
Like they're very thorough with that.
Because Ted Bundy claimed a lot that his childhood was better than it was.
Well, he found out like his grandpa was like his dad or something. It was ancestral.
It was not just that, but it's like he liked
lied.
to be liked.
Yeah,
and didn't view having a family with issues as, I guess, somebody that could fit that mold that he was looking for. But
with Ted Bundy, most of the stuff he said was a lie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was very full of himself. One of his sisters also claimed that Joe Jr. was abused by his father while growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So sexual abuse or beating. Also, he was accused of committing burglaries and tortured and killed animals.
Which are other signs, yeah.
Yes, torturing and killing animals is one of the
big red flags.
Yeah, unholy trinity is what they call it, or the triad. Bro joined the U.S. Navy in September 1964, so he served in the war.
Yeah,
served during the Vietnam War. He served for 22 months as a damage controlman on USS Canberra, a destroyer. And a destroyer on the USS Piedmont. So he did have. So not only did he have that disturbing thing, he went into the war and stuff. I don't know if he actually saw in combat. I don't think he did.
Probably not. But still, I mean, even the ones that don't see combat, that's still.
Yeah, the basic training. Some people just can't handle the basic training, but I don't think that had anything to do with his murders.
He turned out the way he did.
No, not at all.
You don't think his time in the army had anything to do with that?
No. Once he was out, he graduated with honors.
I wondered about that too. Sorry, I know I'm gonna have quite a few questions throughout this one because this is all stuff that I'm intrigued by. What basically with positions of power, right? With serial killers,
Yeah.
Gacy and having to be, the part of the Democratic Party and part of, being and knowing all of the people in the know,
Yeah.
shaking hands with the people in power, stuff like that. They get a trip out of that too. But serial killers, do they seek out those positions also because they can use that to help them in the long run, like with Bundy acting like he impersonating a police officer, Gacy, using the light on his car. The Golden State Killer, wasn't he a cop?
Huh?
The Golden State Killer, D'Angelo, wasn't he a cop?
Yeah, he became a police officer.
Right.
He basically with serial killers, it's kind of like a coin. Like on one side, they like to have that power, they like to have that authority over you, and it's not all of them, but like most of them just like have that power, that control.
Yeah.
You have to listen to them and stuff,
Right.
and it's also about trust. Most people, I don't know, but back then, maybe not now, but back then, like most people trusted police officers,
Yeah.
and people of uniform and people
that's
like
true.
doctors and
And
all
they
that
knew
stuff.
Well, another thing,
So they
another
kind of like
factor-
used it.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that especially if you're a police officer, you're going to know a lot of the procedures and the things that they look out for.
Yeah, which is
when they're
probably one of the
investigating
reasons
stuff like
why
that.
he was not caught for as long as he was.
Probably, yeah. But there have been other, police officer killers before, haven't there?
Yeah.
That haven't been as successful with getting away with it.
Well, he graduated with honors after he got out of the military, and he studied police science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in California at Sierra College. Let's see. So that's really going to help him in the future. That police science stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
He took postgraduate classes where he got his bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He did further police training, then completed a 32-week police internship.
Right.
He became a police officer in the burglar unit. In Exeter, having relocated from Citrus Heights from May 1973 to August 1976. Then he was working in Auburn from August 1976 to July 1979. He was arrested when he stole a burglar unit police officer car.
He stole a car?
Yeah, he stole a car, a hammer, and a dog repellent.
For what?
I don't know. He was sentenced to 6 months
Probably for
probation
burglaries, if
and
I'm
was
thinking about it.
fired.
But why steal a police car if you're going to do that?
Yeah, if someone's all right. So you see someone breaking into a house, right? And then you say that they just came from a police officer's car.
Yeah.
Are you going to call the cops? No, the police are already there.
Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's kind of...
Well, I mean, he was caught. He
I
got
was
6
say,
months
it's not
probation.
like stealing somebody
and he was
normal
fired.
person's car and stole
Yeah.
a police car. They're going to find it.
During the firing process, he threatened to kill the chief of police.
Wow.
And stalked his house.
Wow.
Yeah. He met Bonnie Jean Caldwell in May of 1970. They were engaged. He started showing his true colors then, becoming manipulative and abusive. He demanded that poor Bonnie help him cheat on her and on a abnormal psychology test.
What?
Yeah.
So he was making her help him cheat on her?
On that and other things, yeah. On the psychology test and everything.
Oh, for like the police?
Yeah.
That's messed up. So he knew he was not going to pass the... That's
Yeah.
interesting.
She decided to end it, and he threatened her with a gun, trying to force her to marry him. He moved on pretty fast, marrying Sharon Huddle in 1973. They got a house in Citrus Heights in 1980. And it's the house he was there when he was arrested. So
Recently?
from 1980 to 2020,
He lived in that house?
he lived in that house, yeah.
Damn.
Joe Jr. had 3 daughters with Sharon, who became a divorce attorney.
I wonder how his daughters feel.
Most families are ashamed.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, yeah, obviously, but
immortalized. They separated in 1991. She also officially divorced him a couple months after his arrest.
I wonder if he was showing the same abuse to her that he was to his first wife.
Probably. It depends. A lot of serial killers who are married actually show really they show devotion to their family, and they also like shower them with good stuff when they're killing. Like it's after a kill, they'll buy their daughter a pony or a bike or something. They'll just buy something out because they're happy, they're elated.
Yeah.
But when they've been going to where they haven't had a kill in a while, then then stuff starts getting rough.
Yeah.
The first recorded ransacking occurred in March 19th, 1974. This is when he was a burglary unit officer. He stole $50 from a piggy bank. So basically, this is when he was the Visalia ransacker from 1974 to 1976. His common MO was climbing fences, moving through established routes like parks and ditches and etc.
Right.
Attempting to pry open multiple points of entries, and mostly windows, leaving multiple escape routes open, especially windows, moving removed screens onto beds or into bedrooms, placing warning items such as dishes against doors or even door handles, and wearing gloves.
Yeah.
So he made like
The screen thing was smart because having the screen on the inside, go pass by on the outside, you see a screen laying on the outside of a window, you're going to be like, okay,
yeah.
somebody's breaking in. But with the screen inside, you don't see that telltale sign on the ground there. It's a little bit more time for him to, I guess, do what he needs to do.
He was attempting to kidnap Claude Selling, a journalist at the College of Sequoias, professor's daughter. Schelling had previously chased a prowler away from his daughter's bedroom. Basically, he was I don't know. He was trying to kidnap the daughter, and Schelling chased him away.
Yeah.
On February 5th, 1975. On September 11th, Snelling was awakened by strange noises around 2 a.m.
So he came back.
Yep. He came through an open back door and caught the asshole trying to take his daughter in his carport.
What? Okay, so he's trying to get through the window the first time.
Yeah. He was trying to get through the window,
And
then he
he's
came
like,
through the back door.
And he's like, yo, what are you doing? Get out of my house. Didn't call the police, right? Just like, oh, he won't come back. Then he comes back the same night through the back door, which the dude left unlocked after this incident. Oh, that kills me.
And then he grabbed his daughter and took her to the carport. She had been subdued, and he was threatening to physically harm her. Joe Jr. then shot Snelling 2 times. He stumbled back into the house to his wife and later died. Schelling's daughter, a 16-year-old child, had to undergo hypnosis to gather further details.
Because she was traumatized and couldn't recount, or
Yeah, it's like you put it out of your mind. You don't think about
so
it.
She couldn't. She
So they
couldn't
did, like-
identify him.
Yeah, they did like a old,
Yeah.
it's like a
I
70s
get
trick.
it. It's just it's crazy that he managed to, because she could have identified him.
Well, that kind of like spurred on more crimes. He's gotten past the burglary now. He liked having the control over people.
Yeah.
So-
Not only that, but he got away with it.
This is when the rapings started.
Of course.
Known as the East Area Rapist at the time, 1976 to 1979. Joe Jr. moved into the Sacramento area as his crimes escalated from burglary to rape. Not surprising after what happened with Schelling's daughter. Most victims seen or heard a prowler on their property before the attacks. This is kind of like his MO.
Yeah.
Police were like, you know, this guy's doing extensive recon, and selecting a home to attack.
Yeah. So they can hear this intruder. They can hear him coming, or what, stalking previously before he comes into the house.
Yeah, he's basically like checking out. He's
Right.
doing like serious reconnaissance.
Right. And then later they're like, oh well, come to think of it, I did hear sounds outside. Leading up to that.
Yeah. Joe Jr. would break into homes to unload guns, unlock windows, and plant ligatures. He also telephoned his future victims sometimes months in advance just to learn the routines.
Wow.
Joe Jr. originally targeted women alone or with children because the media did what media always does, making things worse. Media reported that he only attacked lone women.
Great.
Responding to this, Joe Jr. Changed his MO.
Yep.
He began to attack couples.
Ramirez did that with the damn shoes.
Yep. His usual method was to break in through a window or a sliding glass door and awaken the victims. Most of the time, he would like stand in the doorway while they were sleeping and run a knife up and down the door jamb to wake them up.
Ugh. It's like something out of one of those horror movies.
Yeah, like this is a real life boogeyman
Yeah.
we're getting into, and we haven't even got to the murders yet.
Yeah.
He would threaten them with a handgun and then tie them up with blindfolded gold, like ligatures or
Yeah.
just like zip ties and all that
Or
crap.
whatever's laying around.
Yeah. He usually had the female tie up her male companion. Then he would separate the couple, often stacking dishes on the man's back and threatening to kill everyone
If he
in
heard
the
one of them
house.
break.
Yep.
Yep.
He'd take the women into the living room and rape them,
God.
often repeatedly. He would take breaks and have sandwiches
That's ridiculous.
and come back and do it again. He spent hours ransacking the house, eating food, drinking beer. He also liked to make it seem like he left only to scare them, and then rape the lady more.
Oh my God. So he would make them.
So
think
yeah, he would think he was
gone.
leaving, and then he would come back and rape the
God.
girl again.
So not only is he causing physical torture to these people, but he's
Yeah, he
mental
loves it.
torture too.
Yeah, he loves it. He's a sadist.
Yeah.
He stole items, often personal objects, items of little value, and occasionally cash and firearms. When he did finally leave, he would do so on foot, sometimes on a bicycle, usually through parks, schoolyards, creek beds, and any other open spaces to avoid the street.
Is this to also avoid like a car being able to get
Yep.
traced back to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got an idea for everything, doesn't he?
Yep. His first rape, Friday, June 18th, 1976, at 4 a.m. in Rancho Cordova. A Sacramento couple, Brian Mangarelli. I'm sorry if that name was. I don't mean any disrespect to this man, but that last name's really hard. Was in the military at Mother Air Force Base, and his wife Katie were walking their dog in Rancho Cordova area on the night of February 2nd, 1978.
Right.
They got into a confrontation and fled, but they were both shot to death.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he tried to tie him up or something, do his normal thing, and then they confronted him, fought back or something, ran off, and then he shot him.
Yeah. They suspected that it was him because they're
Yeah.
close to the other attacks,
And that's
and because of the shoelace.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I wonder how many kills get blamed on serial killers that didn't do them, and kills that serial killers claim. Well, obviously, there's a lot of serial killers that claim that they killed and they didn't. There's a whole.
Most of the times, if the murders aren't solved within the first 48 hours, they have no idea who did it.
Right.
They suspect hardcore who did it.
Right.
But with serial killers, they're dropping bodies so randomly that there's like, they know that it's lining up. Like, oh my God. Like, because after the first couple, you start seeing the pattern.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, well, we got a pattern. He knows how he kills, but that's all we got.
Yeah, they end up having to, usually they have to get, either the killer has to mess up.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be on their ass and then they have to mess up.
Yeah.
Or they have to get ahead.
Yeah.
They have to plan 2 steps ahead of whatever the killer's planning because, they obviously know they're not going to be able to trace him based on whatever evidence is getting left behind. They're always going to be a step behind that way. So they got to think, okay, well, what would the killer do? That's probably I think that's how the whole profiling system for the FBI got set up in the first place, is trying to find a pattern.
Yeah. Trying to solve
and get the kills solved or the murder solved faster before the serial killers can kill more people.
Yeah. Well, people are like, oh, well, a lot of people think that that was created to prevent serial killers.
No.
You can never prevent a serial killer.
You can't.
You can catch them quickly
to stop them
from killing a whole bunch of people, but like nothing's ever going to stop serial killers.
It can also help them look for signs to help possibly
help someone who's starting to show symptoms
go
or
towards
signs of red flags as well. Okay, so the original Night Stalker years, 1979 to 1986. He raped in 79 and moved to Southern California and began to kill his victims.
It's probably a case of it
wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. It's like, oh, I like this, but how can it be better?
He struck first in Santa Barbara County, a neighbor, in October 1st, 1979. The couple survived. They alerted neighbors and forced Joe Jr. to flee. The neighbor was an FBI agent.
Oh, man.
His M.O., he murders victims by bludgeoning and smothering them.
Wow.
Yeah. Known as the Night Stalker in that area until Richard Ramirez then got the OG Night Stalker. Then he got the OG Night Stalker.
Yeah.
So he was known as the Night Stalker until Richard Ramirez.
The original Night Stalker.
Then he became the original Night Stalker.
Boy, I bet Richard Ramirez would be hot hearing that if he's still alive. Hearing that the OG Night Stalker, because they're big on.
Yeah, they're
big on
the nicknames.
Some of them are,
I don't even know if they like the nicknames.
Some of them do. Some of them have
given.
gone on record to say that they do.
Yeah.
I think Ramirez liked his.
Oh yeah, Night Stalker's a badass name.
I can't remember. I know there were other people that BTK named himself.
Bound
Zodiac
Torture
Killer named himself.
Yeah, there's
a lot
some
of them
that
will
name
themselves.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
The first murder was a 35-year-old Deborah Manning and a 44-year-old Robert Offerman on December 30th, 1979. In Robert's condo in Avida Pancrea and Goleta. Robert's bindings were untied and indicating that he had lunged at his attacker. Mm-hmm. Neighbors heard the gunshots. The police found a large dog paw prints at the scene, and they suspect he brought a dog with him.
What? D'Angelo brought a dog with him?
That's what they suspect.
Why?
He broke into the adjoining vacant residency and stole a bicycle, which was found abandoned later.
Why? What did they do with the dog?
I don't know if he did.
They found the dog print.
Found dog prints. That doesn't mean they could have had a dog.
Well, they probably would have known. They investigated whether or not they had a dog, but there had to have been a reason why they thought he brought the dog.
He might have.
I'm sure they thought of the owners would have a dog, or maybe it was a random dog they got in there while he was killing him. But
I think that he probably brought the dog to
help intimidate.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting off on the, like I said,
fear.
the fear aspect of everything as well. So maybe you're right. Maybe he brought the dog just to help give that extra
Now,
fear factor.
like, I don't think he would have brought his dog, though, because he's smart enough to not do that.
Do anything that links to himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, he's still working as of the time of his. This is his first murder,
This is the first murder.
right? As of the time of his first murder, is he still in the burglary department?
No, he was fired in 1975.
Oh, that's right, because that was when he was caught with the from stealing from the piggy bank.
No, 1976.
Sorry, for that
1976.
police car.
Yeah, he stole a police car, hammer, and repellent.
Right. And that's what he got fired for.
Yeah.
And he obviously he didn't get rehired or anything, so that was pretty much the end of his career as a cop, right?
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah, but he'd already had all of that training,
Mm-hmm.
the years of experience as a burglary cop, plus the Army before that, or I mean Navy before that. So this dude has a lot of different types of, experience when it comes to stalking and killing.
Yeah. Well, he had a crime before that. He had tried to break in and kill a victim on Monday, October 1st, 1979, in Queen Anne Lane, Goleta, in St. Barbara's County.
That went wrong.
Yeah, it was a botched attack.
Yeah. So again, this is like at the very beginning. He's just trying to feel out his, his MO has changed multiple times just between when it was a burglary and when it was a rape.
Yeah.
So it'll probably change again when he starts killing, as he learns, whatever methods that work best for him, I guess.
Yeah. And so in 1979, which was the year of the first killings, on October 1st, an intruder broke in and tied up a Goleta couple. Alarmed at hearing him say, I'll kill him myself, the man and woman tried to escape when
Who's
he
he
left the
talking to?
room. He would pretend to be crazy.
Oh, you just pretend?
Yeah. And the woman screamed.
Kind of not pretending, but
Yeah. Realizing that the alarm had been raised, the intruder fled on a bicycle. Again, the neighbor was the FBI agent.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He responded to the noise and pursued the perpetrator, who was, Golden State Killer, who abandoned the bicycle and a knife and fled on foot throughout local backyards. The attack was later linked to Offerman and Manning murders by shoe prints and twine used to bind the victims.
Mm-hmm.
On December 30th, 1979, 44-year-old Robert Offerman and his 35-year-old wife, Deborah Alexander Manning, or girlfriend at the time, I don't know, they were living together, were found shot to death at Offerman's condominium in Avidia Pinkia in Goleta. Offerman's bindings were untied, indicating that he did lunge at the attack, and the neighbors heard the gunshots.
That was his first successful murder.
Yes. Paw prints of a large dog were found at the scene, leading to the speculation that the killer may have brought one with him. The killer had also broken into a vacant adjoining residence, stolen a bike. Yep. And then he abandoned it a street north
Right.
of the scene. So his next, he messed up. This is his first murder. He made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
In 1980, on March 13th, 33-year-old Charlene Smith and 43-year-old Lyman Smith were found murdered in their Ventura home. Charlene Smith had been raped. A log from a wood pile on the side of the house was used to bludgeon the victims to death.
Wow.
Their wrists and ankles were bound in drapery cord. An unusual Chinese knot, a diamond knot, was used to Charlene's wrists. The same knot was noted in the East Area rapist attacks. At least one confirmed case of which this was publicly known. The murderer was therefore briefly given the name the Diamond Knot Killer. So another nickname.
Yeah.
On August 19th, 24-year-old Keith Eli Harrington and 27-year-old Patrice Briscoe Harrington were found bludgeoned to death in their home on Coxsholl Drive in Dana Point's Nickel Shores gated community. A gated community.
Yep. He don't care.
Yeah, no, you think you're safe in the gated communities. You're not. Patricia Harrington was also raped, although there was evidence that the Harringtons' wrists and ankles were bound. No murder weapon or ligatures were found at the scene. The Harringtons had been married for 3 months at the time of their deaths. Patrice was a nurse in Irvine, and Keith was a medical student at UC Irvine. Keith's brother Bruce later spent nearly $2 million supporting the California Proposition 69, authorizing DNA collection from all California felons and certain other criminals.
So he was instrumental in.
He gave him $2 million.
Instrumental in getting that shit finally caught. Because DNA is what did him in.
Yep.
In the long run.
And it wasn't his DNA; it was the DNA of his family member. In 1981, on February 6th, 28-year-old Manuel Withun was raped and murdered in her Irvine home. Although Withun's body had signs of being tied before she was bludgeoned, no murder weapon or ligatures were found. Though the victim was married, her husband was away, hospitalized, and she was alone at the time of the attack. Withun's television was found in the backyard, possibly the killer's attempt to make the crime appear to be a botched robbery.
Yeah, but I don't think he really cares, to be honest with you.
I think that he likes
fooling
with the police.
Yeah.
It's another power trip for him.
Yeah. Because I can't see, from what I've heard so far, I can't see him giving two shits whether or not they think he's a killer or a robber.
Yeah. On July 27th, 35-year-old Cherry Domingo and 27-year-old Gregory Sanchez became the original Night Stalker's 10th and 11th murder victims. Both were attacked in Domingo's residence, Toltec Way in Goleta, several blocks south of Robert Offerman's condominium.
Wow.
Where she was temporarily living. It was owned by a relative and up for sale. The offender entered the house through a small bathroom window. Sanchez had not been tied and was shot and wounded in the cheek before he was bludgeoned to death with a garden tool. Some believe that Sanchez may have realized he was dealing with the man responsible for Offerman and Manning murders and tried to tackle the killer rather than be tied up. Again, no neighbors responded to the gunshot. Sanchez's head was covered with clothes pulled from the closet. Domingo was raped and bludgeoned. Bruises on her wrists and ankles indicate that she had been tied up, although the restraints were missing. A piece of shipping twine was found near the bed, and fibers from that or the unknown source were scattered all over her body.
Yeah.
Authorities believed that the attacker may have worked as a painter or in a similar job at the Cali Rio shopping center.
Huh. Did he? Maybe.
Like, they're just grasping at straws right now.
Yeah,
they have no idea who the hell it is. But it's interesting that he's bringing the ligatures with him.
Yeah.
And taking them home with him.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But, again, someone finds that. That's damning evidence.
Yeah.
So you do, it's you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah.
He kept his shit right there, too.
Yep. On May 4th, 18-year-old Janelle Lisa Cruz was found after she was raped and bludgeoned to death in her Irvine home. Her family was on vacation in Mexico at the time of the attack. A pipe wrench reportedly missing by Cruz's stepfather was thought to be the murder weapon. Initially, investigators in reciprocative jurisdictions did not think that the Southern California murders were connected.
Yeah, the police departments did not talk to each other back then at all.
It was
like the communication was horrible.
Absolutely,
between jurisdictions.
Sacramento detectives strongly believe that the East Area rapist was responsible for the Goleta attacks, but the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office attributed them to a local career criminal who was later murdered. Unaware of the Goleta murders, local police in surrounding jurisdictions followed false leads related to men who were close to the female victims. One person, later cleared, was charged with 2 of the murders. Many years later, the case was linked almost entirely by DNA testing.
Wow.
So that was the murders, his 13 murders. Like I said, he did 51 rapes. So, obviously we're not going to go through 51 rapes.
Right.
And 120 burglaries. So, he was a very busy boy. 1986 was his last murder. That's when he stopped murdering.
Why did he stop murdering?
That's
what I want to know. I want to know what was finally enough for him. Like, why we don't really know. I guess they don't have a reason why they kill, but there has to have been a contributing factor or something that influenced his decision to stop killing. Was it because he'd had his fill? Because I know that some serial killers will do that. They'll go through stretches of time where they don't kill.
Yeah, cooling off periods.
Yeah, long periods sometimes, like years and years and years sometimes. So, maybe he was in a cool down period and then just got too old, or I don't get it. I don't get why he stopped doing it.
So we're going to get into that for the part 2.
Some of them, obviously it's because they got caught, or they would have continued killing.
Yeah.
And there are still killers out there, I'm sure, that have not been caught that will continue to go on killing. Where, with the Golden State Killer, he's old now. He's old. They just caught him 2020. He maybe has 5-10 more years in prison before he dies, if that. But he still stopped killing in
86.
According to,
he may not have been killed.
He could be lying, but
no victims matching his MO.
Right, exactly.
Have surfaced since 1986. Doesn't mean they don't exist. He could have changed it. He changed his MO once before. He changed it again.
If he did stop killing in 84.
6.
Sorry. Why?
Well, we're going to get into that next episode.
Cool.
We'll get into that. The investigation. We're going to talk about the investigation. We're going to talk about how he was caught. And we're also going to talk about how he tortured his victims before and after.
I guess it wasn't enough while they were, alive.
And, mostly I'm talking about the rape victims.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening. This has been part 1 of the Golden State Killer. Mm-hmm. Part 2 is going to be really interesting. We're going to talk about why he stopped killing.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
The catching of him, the investigation, how close were police at the time.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. And
that's why I like about those.
And where they messed up.
Yeah, that's what I like about those documentaries, the true crime documentaries, in some cases, is because you see just how close they came to getting caught so many times. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was just a simple mistake, that cost everything. You know? Like I keep going back to the Bundy case because I just watched that recently, and the fact that he had escaped not once but twice, and then the second time because of his escape, he went on to Florida and committed all the murders that he committed in Florida.
Yep. And we'll talk about him next season. He's one of the serial killers. Yeah. Bundy and Dahmer is the next season's serial killers.
Dahmer creeps me out the way that other serial killers don't. It's weird. Like Gacy and Dahmer for me are two that just.
I think it's because he's a cannibal. A lot of people just think.
I don't know.
Cannibal.
They all are atrocious and commit freaking just heinous crimes. But those two in particular, for some reason, for me, just.
They're probably the two biggest. Everybody knows who they are. Bundy, Gacy, and Dahmer are the three bigs.
But Bundy. Maybe that's part of his charisma, though.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't think he was.
I did not
the killer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't. I obviously.
Think he was the killer.
I 100% think he was the killer. No, that's not my problem. It's just that he doesn't instill the same kind of
fear response.
Fear response that.
No, he brings you in. Dahmer just looks at you like you're already dead.
A piece of meat.
Yeah, you're a piece
basically.
of meat. And Gacy, he just. Well, you don't like
was-
him because he's a clown. He
well,
dressed up
that's
as a
part
clown.
of it, but that's not even the serial killer part of him.
Yeah.
No, it's with Gacy. It was like I don't know. I can't explain it. It's weird.
Well, you do know that with the Golden State Killer, Patton Oswalt's wife dedicated her life to finding this killer, the Golden State
No,
Killer.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she researched and dedicated her life and wrote a book. And when the book was, I think the book, no, she wasn't even done with the book and she passed away.
Oh no!
Yeah, so Patton Oswalt finished the book for her and published it. And
I
they
did not know
caught-
that. And then they finally caught
they
him.
finally caught him.
Oh, that is awesome though that they
Yeah.
caught him.
Yeah.
Oh man, I bet that was really cool for Patton Oswalt though to be able to get that. 'Cause
Yeah.
his wife obviously didn't get to see it, her life's work.
I'm sure he'd prefer her to have
Well,
seen it.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, at least he gets to see
All of her hard
All of her
work
hard
paying
work
off
pay
because
off.
she did a remarkable job.
Yeah, God, I did not know that. It's really cool.
And it's one of the better true crime books that's been written.
Yeah.
Is hers.
I want to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. Go ahead and check out those links. Next week we're announcing the winner of our yearly giveaway. So we'll be picking a follower of Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, subscriber and stuff. So if you're not a follower, go ahead and follow us. So
Yep. Like and subscribe.
yep, and follow that link to all this goodness that we have. And we'll see you next week for Golden State Killer Part 2.